Melissa,
Yes.
tell them 2:05.
Say what now?
Just they should be on about 2:05.
Okay, thanks.
All right.
right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Law, and this is going to be the expedited accusation calendar. This is with the State Court of Fulton County. This calendar deals with cases in which individuals were recently charged, warrants were issued, and they were arrested and booked at the Fulton County Jail. Soon thereafter, the prosecutor, which is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, has already formally accused the defendant of one or more misdemeanor charges. Hence, this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. When I call your name, I will let you know what is your accusation number, what are the charges brought against you, appoint counsel to represent you if you cannot afford one, and also to set a bond if one has not been set, or to modify the bond that was previously set. If you're a defendant charged with one or more misdemeanor offenses, please remember that you have certain constitutional rights. The first one is the right to remain silent. Anything that you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you. This virtual proceeding is not only being live streamed, but it's also being recorded. So please make sure that if you need to say something, make your statements directly to your attorney in a private conference and not in open court. You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. For purposes of the hearing today, most of the cases are going to be represented by the Public Defense Counsel or from a conflict defense matter. Courtroom 2, who do we have?
Good afternoon, Judge Law. This is going to be number 11, McGraw.
Okay. By the way, who represents Emma Hislop? All right, Ms. Atay, just to let you know, we have Ms. Hislop's parents in courtroom G33 at the present time. FYI.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, position 11, I have Sade McGraw, accused of battery family violence from December 27th, 2023. Ms. McGraw, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Maureen McLeod. Ms. McLeod, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Just as a side matter, you know, I'm going to be keeping you busy on the January 4th calendar. So you got those emails?
I did, Your Honor.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so addressing Ms. McGraw's case, Mr. Howard?
First arrest.
Okay.
No, jail was the recommendation.
All right. And Mr. Pierre Thomas, good afternoon. You look too happy post-Christmas.
Yes, I got a lot of rest, I guess.
Okay.
Brief
Yes,
facts of
sir.
the case is that basically on December 27, 2003, the officer responded to a fight and a disorder call at 4021 Lakemont Drive in Atlanta, Georgia, apartment 31. The officer spoke with the victim. The victim stated that, yes, the officer spoke with the victim, who stated that the victim allowed the defendant to reside at the location since they had gotten back together. The victim stated the defendant became aggressive towards him because he questioned her about a substance that was left on the bathroom toilet seat. The victim stated that the defendant began yelling and using profanity and got close, and with a closed hand struck him across the face. The victim stated that he attempted to restrain her and attempted to hold her down and back, and he placed his arms around her. In doing so, he sustained scratches to his arms. He also stated that while he was exiting the residence, she struck him with her purse. He stated that he attempted to grab her to keep him from striking her again, and she bit him several times, leaving visible marks on his body, and she continued to scratch him, causing him to bleed. The officer observed previous bite marks and bruises that he sustained from a situation before. Given the limited history, Your Honor, the recommendation from the state is a signature bond through the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact, a stay away from the incident location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. The victim's name in this case is Manquez, Manquez, Lovett, Lovett. If we could sound for him in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Mr. Manquez Lovett, I think that's the correct way to pronounce your name. Manquez Lovett, if you are present, please unmute and start your video if you want to contribute to these proceedings. All right, no one's responding. Ms. McLeod, any objection to the no contact and stay away?
I have an objection to the stay away, Your Honor. This is my client's home. Mr. Lovett does not live there at all, and that has been an issue between them. They were previously in a relationship and had lived together in her place as well in Clayton County. She moved away from there, left him there because he just wouldn't leave her alone, and she moved into another accommodation, and he came over there and got into an altercation with her. My client is pregnant. Mr. Lovett is the father of the child, but she does not wish to have any contact with him at all. And she wants him to stay away from her place because that was the reason they even had this argument. He wants to come to live with her again, and she does not want to have him around. They have been broken up. She doesn't want to be in a relationship with him. This is her place, not his.
I don't know about that. It's bad. So are you saying that it's family violence because they share a child or that she's pregnant?
It is family violence, and he should have been arrested because he attacked her. She said that's the
No,
reason
no,
why.
no, no. I'm saying, is it family violence in the context of, do they cohabitate?
They
Or,
do not, they used to. They
Oh.
do not. My client has been living at this address. This is her home. She has been living there by herself for more than 2 months, she tells me, because they used to live together in Clayton County, but because of his violence, she moved. Even though the apartment they lived at in Clayton County was in her name, she moved away and got her own place. So this Lakemont place is her place. He has nothing whatsoever to do with that place.
the incident report indicates that she's 5 months pregnant and that,
She is pregnant.
and that, well, the incident report indicates the address is his. So, Mr. Pierre Thomas, do you have a different address for Mr. Lovett?
One
Our
moment.
victim advocate's office has a different address?
I'm pulling it up in the system right now. I'm sorry. The Odyssey had issues.
Looks like Mr. Lovett was arrested on another outstanding warrant. All right. While you're looking at that, Ms. McGraw, the bond is going to be set at $3,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. You can sign up for your bond today, but you have to comply with the conditions in order to maintain the signature bond status. Otherwise, it could be revoked and you would have to pay for the bond the next time. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
The conditions are no contact with Manquez Lovett. You may return to the property at 4021 Lakemont Drive, apartment 31E in College Park.
Thank you.
All right, if Mr. Lovett does not live there, you might definitely want to let your leaseholder know that. Is this a rental premises?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you might definitely want to let them know that if he's already vacated the property and he doesn't live there. But you might want to let them know that, or let the cops know that you have the right to the property. You might want to have your lease in front of you. Is he on the name of the lease also? All right. But other than that, you have to have no contact with Manquez Lovett. If he shows up there, you can't open the door. Just call the cops if he shows up. You're not to consume any illegal drugs, no weapons, no firearms. And your next court date will be sent to your current mailing address. If you change your address, you need to contact the clerk's office and let us know in writing what your new address is. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, the state will withdraw the stay away request. The victim himself stated that he allowed her to live there. So it is a family violence situation, but it is her home.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Judge Law, I do have a quick announcement for the Spanish interpreter whenever they are ready.
Who is the attorney for that case?
It's gonna be Ms. Kim. If we can do the breakout for courtroom 1 and the Spanish interpreter whenever they're available.
Ms. Kim, you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, Ms. Chauncey, you ready? Oh, that's ASG Chauncey, sorry. Our interpreter has to, sorry, Mr. Mr. Graham, I saw Chauncey, I thought that was the interpreter. She has the same name. Okay, Ms. Chauncey is not here yet, so as soon as she appears or another interpreter, then can do the breakout. Next case in courtroom 2, please.
Ms. Jones, that is actually,
Mm. This is,
that is going to be position number 7. Come on, Ms. Jones, Tara Jones.
all right, and Deputy Francois, is Tara Jones there as well as Taji Jones?
Yes, they're both here. This is Tara Jones, and I
Is
can,
Taji Jones, can they stand up behind?
okay.
I need to come forward, otherwise the rest of your head is cut off by the Zoom camera. And Tara Jones is seated, correct?
Yes.
All right. Ms. McLeod, do you represent Taji Jones or Tara Jones?
I represent Tara Jones, Your Honor.
Tara Jones, okay. And Ms. Hade, do you represent Taji Jones? Okay. All right, Taji Jones and Tara Jones, you have both got open, active misdemeanor criminal cases stemming from a family violence situation. Not a good place to be. Taji Jones, your case number is 23 CR 008417C, accused of battery family violence from December 27, 2023. Tara Jones, also accused of battery family violence, accusation 23 CR 8418C. Same date, same incident, and they are, as I understand, are cross defendants. Which means this, both of you were arrested because of an alleged altercation in which both of you are allegedly in opposition to each other. Both of you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and you have your named counsel. Any priors on either defendant, Mr. Howard?
Which one we gonna do first, Tara?
Oh, my goodness. Okay, let's start with Tara Jones, position 7.
Second arrest, 2013, domestic violence out of Alabama. Taji, third arrest, marijuana possession conviction from this year, and a 2022 possession of marijuana. They were level 2s.
Okay. Let's start with Tara Jones. She's seated up front, 7 arrest cycles. And Mr. Graham, yes, sir.
Second arrest, Judge, second.
Second.
Yes.
Second. So this is prior was the domestic violence from Alabama?
Correct.
Okay, sorry, got that. Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, early morning, December 27th, officers were dispatched to the apartment complex at 455 14th Street Northwest in Atlanta for a fight in progress. Upon arriving, the officer observed the accused and her brother, Mr. Taji Jones, yelling at each other, requested additional officers at the location to separate the parties, and conducted an investigation. The officer spoke with Mr. Kaba Sesay, Sesay, who was the security officer at the apartment complex. The security officer told the responding officer that he saw the accused and her brother pull inside the parking deck, that they both got out of the car arguing. The argument turned physical, each party punching the other with closed fists. Security officer also observed Mr. Jones kicking his sister when she was on the ground. Ms. Jones stated that they were arguing, but did not say they were in any physical altercation. Mr. Jones confirmed the argument and told the officer that Ms. Jones punched him in the mouth, so he punched her back. The officer observed bleeding from the mouth of both parties. They were both arrested, transported to Grady Hospital for treatment. State is recommending a signature bond with pretrial services, 2-day anger management course. We are aware that the parties live together, but no contact with Mr. Jones, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
So who lives where, Mr. Graham? Do you know? Do they both live at the 14th Street location or?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. McLeod,
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 32 years old. Her brother is 21 years old, and he just recently moved from Kansas to stay with her. My client tells me that this was a misunderstanding between them because I did ask her about that. She says she does want to continue to have contact with her brother. And he is living at the location with her, but she says as soon as he sort of gets on his feet, he's going to be finding his own place. But she does want him to continue to live there until he finds his own place because he is her younger brother. And, you know, she's not afraid of him or anything like that. I just wanted to put that out there, which is what she told me. But this is her place. She is the only one on the lease. Her brother just recently moved in about a month ago, she tells me, because her parents were displaced in Kansas. He was formerly living with them, so he came to stay with her. We are not opposed to the signature bond, Your Honor, through pre-trial, but we would like for her to continue to have contact with her
Is she
young.
employed?
She is employed, Your Honor. She has a bachelor's degree, she tells me, and she works as an environmental engineer.
Oh, impressive. Okay. And Mr. Graham, what's the situation with Mr. Taji Jones? Same fact pattern?
Yes, Your Honor, same fact pattern, same recommendations.
Okay. And Ms. Atay, anything else to add?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 21 years old. He's a high school graduate and has attended some college. He did recently move to Georgia, so he hasn't found employment yet, but he is searching and working part-time driving for Uber. He does qualify for public defender services. As you heard, he has no violent history, only the couple of charges for marijuana. He does deny the allegations as stated in the warrant, states that he was not the first aggressor. And anyway, as Attorney McLeod stated, that it's a misunderstanding and, the warrant's exaggerated as well. But I would say he is only 21 years old. He has no violent history, so we're fine with the signature bond through pretrial services. I would ask at most a one-day anger awareness course due to the lack of history, if anything. And no further violent contact and not a
So
stay
he-
away for now. Mhm.
So he is broke and living at the mercy of his sister. Boy, some
Well-
sisters really be envious of that position. Okay. Taji Jones and Tara Jones, your bonds are going to be set at $2,500. That's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. In addition to enjoying the rest of the holidays with each other at your apartment, you both also will be reporting to pretrial once a month. If both of you get arrested again for anything else, or if you do not report to pretrial, or if you fail to comply with additional conditions, the signature bond will be revoked. And the next time you come to jail, bring $2,500 with you. Both of you will need to attend and complete 12 anger management classes. You can do it together. What a bonding moment that would be, or you can do it separately. But in either event, both of you must enroll and begin the 12 anger management classes within 30 days of being released. Taji Jones, if you decide that you want to vacate the premises and live at a separate property, you have to update the court of your new mailing address within 30 days of moving out, because currently we're going to use the 14th Street location as your address. Both of you are not allowed to drink any alcohol, not consume any, let me strike the alcohol. Both of you are not allowed to consume any illegal drugs or substances, and also to not own any weapons or any firearms. You both will be subject to random screens for illegal drug substances. So these are the conditions. Start your anger management classes, report to court when summoned, and Taji, welcome to Georgia. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So I have one question, Judge.
Yeah.
So
I
where do we
gotta
set
ask
up
about the
our
bonds.
classes for anger management? Do we go through Fulton County?
You Google appropriate anger management schools in Fulton County. A lot of them, they charge you a fee, and you have to attend the 12-week program and make sure that you attend those consecutively. Also in the bond order is no violent contact with each other.
So it's 12 weeks and not 12 classes.
They are 12 weekly classes.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Judge, they both got 2,500 SOB
Yep.
trial?
Yep. Level 1, yeah. No violent contact with each other. Next case, Deputy Francois.
Number 2, Benton.
Ella J. Benton is accused of battery at a public transit vehicle or station from December 27, 2023, case number 23 CR 8413A. Mr. Benton, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. McLeod. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
6 total.
What's
Got
the
a
last one?
probation, Cobb County, probation violation out of Cobb. On probation for ag battery, possession of a firearm or a knife during the commission.
Is that the Cobb County case?
Correct.
Okay.
2022 battery conviction, 2018 simple assault. That's it.
Battery conviction from which jurisdiction?
I didn't write it down.
Okay. Ms. Pope, do you know?
I think all of its history was Cobb County, but if you give me a moment, I can look it up while I'm going through the facts.
Go ahead.
This incident took place on December 27, 2023. A bus operator advised of 2 black males fighting on the bus. Per multiple witnesses, the defendant hit the victim, Eddie Fields, for no reason. The victim stated that he was sitting in the seat in front of the defendant and moved because the defendant stood up behind him. The defendant asked the victim, "What's up?" and the victim did not respond, at which point the defendant hit the victim in the lip, causing a fight to happen in defense. I had the simple assault was from the Navy, and I want to say,
The battery was Cobb County.
Cobb County? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So what's the bond recommendation, Ms. Pope?
UJR pretrial level 2, no further contact with Eddie Fields, stay away from all MARTA locations, and I want to say a 1-day anger management course, but I'm not sure if that'll be beneficial or not.
All right. Ms. McLeod, any comment about stay away from all MARTA in accordance with any active suspension?
Yes, Your Honor. I do not believe that he has any active suspensions, Your Honor, and he does use MARTA to get to and from work.
Well, the problem is if he's been arrested there, there's probably a suspension.
Well, if there is a suspension, I guess he would have to comply with any suspensions, Your Honor. But I'm asking the court not to impose a suspension on him. Of course, if there is one imposed by MARTA, then naturally you would have to comply with that restriction. But we are unopposed to the UJR through pretrial, Your Honor.
Okay. The bond is going to be set at 2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Benton, I'm going to have you stay away from Mr. I'm sorry, I didn't write his name down. Eddie
Eddie
Fields.
Fields.
He doesn't know him, Your Honor. It was a random encounter.
And they might meet again on a bus. So I don't know what Mr. Fields' regular transportation route is, but he's to have no contact with Eddie Fields, which means that at the present time, he's to stay away from all MARTA. And this will be all MARTA buses. He can use the trains, but he cannot use the buses since this happened on a bus. Then this will be until further order of the court. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, and no firearms. And your next court date will be sent to you at your current mailing address. If you change your mailing address, you need to let us know in writing. Please make sure that you report to pretrial every month. And if you get arrested again for something else, or if you do not report to pretrial, a bench warrant will be issued for your arrest. Thank you.
I just have one question for clarification. If MARTA has a suspension, then he would also have to comply with any of MARTA's restrictions for their buses and trains. Is that correct?
That's true. Yes, the stay away from all buses is the court order. If he has a MARTA suspension, he cannot use the buses, the trains, the stations, and so forth.
Thank you.
So that's something he would have to address with MARTA.
If you have a question, you can call me unless it is related to your bond, and I don't see why it would be since you received a signature bond, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Come on.
Judge Law, I wanted to know, is Anna Ovanik, is that the Spanish interpreter?
Yes, that's me. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I should have changed my name.
Oh, okay.
We're ready.
Ms. Sovanik, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to put you in a breakout room with
Okay.
courtroom 1 and Ms. J. Kim, who is the defense counsel.
Okay.
You'll see a message on your screen to join a breakout. Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Francois. I wasn't sure either. Okay.
Your Honor, may I be excused? My business is completed.
Yes, Ms. McLeod. I may see you tomorrow, but if not, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Same to you, Your Honor.
All right. Take care.
This is number 4, Hislop.
All right, Hema Hislop is accused of theft by shoplifting from November 2nd, 2023 in case 23 CR 8416Y. Ms. Hislop, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Atay. Mr. Howard, any priors?
6 total. Last arrest was in Gwinnett on probation. She got a DUI marijuana possession from this year, 2017 probation, 2016 burglary, first degree, first offender. Got holds out of Forsyth and Hall County. I think they're for shoplifting, if I'm not mistaken.
Forsyth County and Hall County for holds?
Yes.
All right.
Your Honor, this is,
Ms. Pope?
yes, this is a November 2nd, 2023 allegation of theft by shoplifting. The defendant stole multiple pieces of merchandise from Target in Johns Creek, and it was captured on video camera she was utilizing the self-checkout register. The defendant failed to scan 6 items with a value totaling $388.67. The defendant left the store without paying for the items. The defendant was identified by Target LP Shelley Poe because she had several other theft incidents from Target stores in the area. According to the holds in Gainesville and Cummins, they do both say for theft by shoplifting.
All right. Would either of you like to address the court?
No, the reason we came was to try to better understand the situation and the best way to help navigate Emma through it and get her the help she needs to recover.
Okay. The parents of Ms. Hislop are in the courtroom to get a better understanding of the nature of the charges and the context of the case. So, Ms. Atay, I'm sorry, Ms. Pope, I'm sorry, what was your bond recommendation?
The recommendation was a UJR jail to the holds. Or probably should do pretrial for some guidance afterwards. So UJR pretrial. Stay away from all Target stores, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Okay. Ms. Atay, any objection to that?
Well, I would like to state that my client is 24 years old. She does have 2 children, ages 3 and 2, and she is currently pregnant with a high-risk pregnancy with her 3rd child. She does deny the allegations. She's a full-time student right now, and of course, a full-time mother. She is almost finished with her cosmetology license. She's lived in Georgia since she was 12 years old. And I would ask for the signature bond through the jail, the release to the holds. She has been in custody in Gwinnett for some time now. And so I do think that a signature bond through the jail would allow her to be, take care of the holds more quickly.
Ms. Hislop, your history is very disturbing. The nature of the charges are even more disturbing. And the fact that you have children who look up to you as a role model, that brings the disturbing level to a whole new level. I am very, very scared for your children at this present time. And I'm very, very glad your parents are here because I hope they will have some alternative care. Because I think you have some serious issues to resolve before you can even broach the subject of being a role model for young children. The bond is presently being set at $5,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. You must report to pretrial after you have resolved the holds that are currently pending in Forsyth County and Hall County. You'll be first released to the holds in Forsyth County and Hall County in order to address the outstanding charges in those cases. After which you will then start to report to pretrial once, no, actually it's going to be twice a month. It'll be a level 2 reporting. I can do a level 4 reporting, which means that you report once a week. But I think your life is going to be busy enough if you are in fact pregnant and if you do in fact care for those 2 children, or you are seeking to complete your cosmetology license. I don't know whether there's any truth to any of those allegations, but if your life is as busy as what it appears to be, I don't think you'll have time to hopefully get into trouble in the future. But in the event that you do get into trouble in the future, if you are arrested again for anything else, or if you do not report to pretrial after you're released from the Forsyth County and the Hall County hold, please understand that pretrial services will request, and I will grant, a bench warrant, which means that the next time you're in jail, you are required to pay $5,000 in order to bond out.
Is it possible?
You're also required to stay away from all Target stores, not just the one in Johns Creek. Every single building that has the word Target and the big bullseye on it, you're not allowed into that store. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
What was your question? Is it possible what?
Yesterday, my dad was speaking to a sheriff and they said that I could possibly bond out of here and turn myself into those 2 counties. Is that possible?
That's what's happening right now. You're being granted a signature bond, and then Forsyth County or Hall County need to come pick you up. No, you don't get to travel there on your own. All right?
Yes, ma'am.
Do either of you have any questions of the court? Mr. and Miss, is it Hisla?
So she will be transported to one of those 2 places, Hall or Forsyth next, and then will she have to request another bond there, or?
Yes. I don't know what are the charges there, and I don't know what is the situation of the case.
Each is a misdemeanor shoplifting charge.
Okay, then they would have to issue a bond, and then she would have to go then to the next hole.
Okay, so when this process plays out, eventually after she goes to the 2, she will be released and she will. I guess what I'm asking is, you have conditions for her in Fulton County. They may have conditions for her also in the other counties.
That's right. She'll be a busy little bee.
Thank you.
Anything else? Sir? All right. You're free to go if you want. I'm done with the case. Yeah. Thank you, Ms. Hisler. Next case, please.
12, Nettie.
Oh, sorry.
I think 12 is Jay Kim's client.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Ms. Jones, Sandra, that's switch.
And
That is. What is it? Which one is that?
Here we go.
She's not.
I'm sorry, Francois. What position are we on?
I'm actually looking for her case on the calendar. She's not on here.
Ms. Atay, who is your next client?
she's
No,
she's
no.
my client, but I think she's not on the calendar. I did send the bond order to ASG Walker.
Okay. Kathleen McDaniel, are you counsel for any of the clients or different role?
No, Judge, I was trying to see if she's actually been null crossed or case dismissed, because she's not on the calendar.
Okay. I have a Kathleen McDaniel on the screen. I didn't know. Ms. McDaniel, could you identify yourself?
I'm the victim with Stephen Kindig.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's go back and have this.
Yeah, it was my understanding that it was a consent bond that should have been, and it should have been forwarded to the litigation manager on.
Tell me which one. Tell me which one.
Sorry, the one we were just talking, Miss Sandra Jones. Position number.
She's not on the calendar, excuse me, Ms. Pope. I do have it, Judge. I'll forward it to Miss Bridgewater.
Okay, appreciate it, Ms. Grace.
Thank you.
Or you can forward it directly to me. That's fine. Then I'll send it to Ms. Bridgewater.
That's what they're saying.
All right,
Will
do we
do.
have a case of Miss,
I have position one.
position one,
What,
Lateef Battle?
I'm sorry, Judge Law, question. So what is her bond then?
Who?
For Miss Sandra Jones? Because she's not
on the calendar. As soon as I see the bond order, I can let you know.
okay, thank
I
you.
haven't seen it yet.
Okay, number one, Mr. Battle.
Yeah, Lateef R. Battle. And Miss Atay, what was your request for this case?
For Mr. Battle?
Yeah.
We hadn't got
Um,
it.
No, did you have a waiver or something that you're about to say? Or am I just hearing a lot of things? I'm probably
No.
hearing a lot of things. Okay.
No waiver.
Okay. Mr. Lateef Battle is case 23 CR 008415E. He's accused of misdemeanor possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce and giving false information to an officer from December 27 of this year. Mr. Battle, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Miss Ataya. Any priors, please, Mr. Howard?
23 total, on probation out of Douglas, forgery in the first, on probation in Fulton for a CWAC charge, 2020 probation, 2019 sale of marijuana, 2018 probation.
Is the CWAC probation matter been resolved, or is he still ongoing?
He's on probation for it. 18 SC 162779.
162779.
I'll put a charge in the chat.
All right, thank you. Ms. Pope?
Yes, Your Honor. This is an incident that took place on December 27, 2023, when Sergeant Nozier was patrolling 3263 Donald Lee Hollowell when he observed the defendant, who was holding a clear medium sandwich bag containing suspected marijuana. The defendant approached a vehicle's driver's side door, opened the bag, and had the vehicle driver smell the clear bag content. The officer recognized the drug based on his knowledge, training, and experience. He approached the defendant, at which point the defendant tied up the bag and stuffed it down his pants. The officer smelled marijuana coming from the defendant's person. The officer asked the defendant for the marijuana, and he complied. He retrieved 3 separate bags of marijuana totaling 10 grams. During the investigation, the defendant falsely stated his name was Marcus Battle with a date of birth of 9/5/1989. His real identity was confirmed on GCIC with a picture. On count 1, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, UJR jail, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. Stay away from 3263 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. Count 2, giving false name, UJR jail as well, same conditions.
Ms. Tay, on the misdemeanor possession of marijuana, that's going to be 100. On the giving false information, that's going to be 1,900. That's a $2,000 signature bond through the jail to the probation hold. So he's got a probation hold in Superior Court, and that has to be resolved.
No objections.
All right. After that, he is to make sure that he understands this is still an open active case, and once he's released from the hold, that he needs to give us a current mailing address, his correct name, phone number, and email with the court within 30 days of being released from the probation hold. Thank you, Mr. Battle.
Judge, we can do the Spanish interpreter case.
Ms. Hovanik, if you please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm that the testimony you translate will be a true and accurate translation with no changes or embellishments?
I do.
Thank you. This is State versus Jose Ramirez Marcos, charged with battery, family violence.
Este es José Ramírez Marcos, que se le acusa agresión, violencia contra la familia.
The alleged offense date is December 27, 2023 in Fulton County, Georgia.
Que supuestamente el incidente ocurrió, el delito, en el condado de Fulton el 27 de diciembre del 2023.
His case number is 23 CR 8424G.
Y el caso es el número 23CR 008424G.
Mr. Ramirez Marcos, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say in open court, your statements can and will be used against you.
Señor Ramírez Marcos, usted tiene el derecho a permanecer callado. Cualquier cosa que usted diga puede ser usado contra usted.
You have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you.
Usted tiene el derecho de tener un abogado. Si usted no puede contratar uno se le puede asignar sin costo alguno.
Mr. Howard, any priors on Mr. Marcos?
Señor Howard, ¿algunos antecedentes con el señor Marcos?
Mr. Tucson Howard? Okay, let's begin with the prosecution. Mr. Pierre Thomas, what is your recommendation?
Your Honor, according to our records, this is his first arrest.
Oh, go ahead, translate, Ms. Hovanik.
Ok, señor Pierre Thomas, ¿cuál es qué es lo que está recomendando? Sí, a sus señorías, es el primer arresto de él.
Your Honor, the facts of the case are that on December 27, 2003, the officer was dispatched to incident location for a domestic dispute.
Los oficiales fueron despachados el 27 de diciembre 2023 a una disputa que tenían.
The victim stated that the defendant became angry with her and scratched her on the right side of her hand and chest.
Y la víctima dijo que el acusado se enojó, se puso bravo y que la rasguñó al lado derecho de la mano.
Both marks were visible to the officer.
Y que las dos marcas que tenían en la mano y en el brazo que eran visibles al oficial.
The defendant himself admitted to putting his hands on the victim.
Y el mismo acusado, él admitió que le puso las manos encima a la víctima.
Both parties have been living together for a month.
Y las dos partes habían estado viviendo juntas por un mes.
Our office was able to get in contact with the victim, whose name is Lydia Cortez Sanchez.
Nuestra oficina pudo tener contacto con la víctima, que es Lydia Cortez Sánchez.
She advised that either she or the defendant's brother may be on the Zoom.
Ella me ha dicho que tal vez ella o el hermano del acusado estén tal vez aquí en esta plataforma Zoom.
She advised that they share 2 children together and have been together for 6 years.
Me ha dicho de que tienen 2 niños juntos y que han vivido juntos como por 6 años.
They reside at that John Creek's location, which is 368 Caswick, Caswyck Trace.
Y que estaban en John Creek, que es en la dirección 368 Caswick Trace.
She states that they do not have a domestic violence history.
Ella me ha dicho de que ellos no tienen ningún historial de violencia doméstica.
She confirmed the events in the warrant.
Y ella ha confirmado los eventos que están en la orden de arresto.
The recommendation from the state, given the limited criminal history, is a signature bond to the pretrial services, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, stay away from that incident location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program.
Entonces, lo que vamos a recomendar, puesto que no tiene ningunos antecedentes penales, de que pueda salir firmando su propia fianza y de que haga ciertas cosas antes del juicio, de que no usar alcohol, ni drogas, ni tener ninguna armas, ningún contacto con la víctima y de no acercarse al lugar donde sucedieron los hechos y de poder tomar un programa de intervención.
And if we could sound for Ms. Cortez Sanchez in accordance with Marcy's law, that'd be greatly appreciated. Nothing further from the state.
Y si podemos llamar a la señorita Cortés Sánchez, nada más del estado.
Anyone involved in the Jose Ramirez Marcos case, if you are present on Zoom and you want to speak, please unmute and start your video.
Alguien que esté en este caso del señor Ramírez Marcos, si está en el video, que muestre su cara y también y que la podemos escuchar.
All right, Ms. Kim, this is going to be a signature bond, but with a stay away and no contact.
Ok, abogada Kim, entonces esta va a ser una fianza con la firma de él y que que se mantenga alejado y no tenga contacto con la víctima.
It's a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services.
Que es una fianza de $2,000 que él la va a firmar con,
Level one.
con servicios antes del juicio.
Sorry, this is a level one, which means he reports to pretrial once a month.
Entonces va a ser nivel número 1 donde se reporta una vez al mes para las conferencias antes del juicio.
If he fails to report or fails to, or if he gets arrested again, his signature bond will be revoked.
Y si falta de reportarse, si no se reporta o lo arrestan otra vez, se le va a revocar esa fianza que se le dio de que usted firme su propia firma.
He's to have no contact with Leia Cortez Sanchez.
Y no tener ningún contacto para nada con Leida Cortés Sánchez.
He's to stay away from 368 Caswick Place in Johns Creek, Georgia.
Y que se aleje de ese lugar, se mantenga alejado del 368 Caswick Trace en Johns Creek, Georgia.
He may return one time only with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings.
Puede nada más regresar una vez con un oficial de policía para poder sacar sus cosas de allí, sus pertenencias.
And within 30 days of being released, he must update the court with his new address in writing.
Y dentro de los 30 días que tiene que informarle al tribunal por escrito donde su dirección que tiene ahora, que va a tener.
No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no firearms.
Y no usar drogas ilegales, ni bebidas alcohólicas, ni tampoco armas de fuego.
And while he's out on a signature bond, he will enroll in 8 anger management classes.
Y mientras usted esté bajo esa fianza de su propia firma, que se va a tener que inscribir en clases de cómo controlar la ira.
He must show proof of enrollment in the classes within 30 days of being released.
Y que tiene que usted mostrar prueba de que se ha inscrito en esas clases de cómo controlar la ira y tiene 30 días para mostrar prueba.
Your Honor,
Yes, Ms. Kim?
can he have a third-party transfer to see his 2 children?
I don't see why not. Any objection from the state?
No objection from the state, Your Honor.
Can somebody hear me?
Que si alguna tercera persona puede transferir a los niños para poderlos ver, si no hay ninguna objeción en eso.
I will allow for third-party transfer of the children.
Yo voy a permitir que una tercera persona pueda transferir a los niños.
Just be sure that he has no contact with Miss Ledia Sanchez.
Nada más asegurarse de que no tenga ningún contacto para nada con Leida Cortés Sánchez.
Thank you.
Gracias.
There we go, Miss Bridgewater.
Thank you,
Okay.
Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Abadic. Happy New Year.
You
We'll
too.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Courtroom 2, who do we have next?
Next, we have position number 12.
This is State versus Savannah Nutting, charged with reckless conduct and misdemeanor possession of marijuana. Accusation 23 CR 8419G from December 27, 2023. Ms. Nutting, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Couple of probations from 2022, 6 total arrests. 2021 possession of cocaine conviction. Should be off probation for that in 2024. 2020 battery DV first offender, on probation for felony obstruction. Should be off of probation for that in 2024. That's it.
All right. Mr. Pierre Thomas, yes, sir.
Your Honor, brief facts of this case is that the defendant herself admitted to being angry and mad and recklessly firing multiple rounds into the sky from her Glock 30 .45 caliber firearm in the parking lot of an apartment building, endangering the bodily safety of others. Also, I guess search incident to arrest, the defendant was in possession of 25 grams of marijuana in her purse. Your Honor, the incident location here is 464 Bishop Street Northwest, Atlanta. Your Honor, given the history, she was on 2 separate probations. She also had an arrest but a dismissal for a violation of family violence order. The state is kind of concerned, really. And so the recommendation from the state is a $10,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and a stay away from that incident location.
Why is this case not being charged as possession of a firearm by a first offender probationer or by a convicted felon?
In hindsight, it does need to be transferred because she was still on, it wasn't sealed. She was still on active probation.
Understood, but I'm a little curious.
It needs to be transferred, Your Honor. It will be sought to be transferred.
All right, Ms. Kim?
I guess the issue, yeah, never mind.
Ms. Kim?
Ms. Nutting is 25 years old, and Your Honor, she was born and raised here in Georgia, and she has she has been working as a caregiver for his mother full time, but his mother passed away about 2 months ago, and because of that, ever since she passed away, she's been looking for a job, but she has not been able to get a job, Your Honor. She has a GED, and she has an auntie in Florida who can help her. However, she's in Florida, and her boyfriend is also incarcerated, so she does not have anybody who can pay for her bond. So we would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 2. And she has a hold at DeKalb County, if I remember correctly. So maybe she can be released to that DeKalb County.
Is that the probation hold?
That I do not know, Your Honor. It was Fording County.
That's all it says, DeKalb County hold, 21 CR 2663, might be a state court hold. Okay.
I do understand that she has, so the possession of cocaine is out of Gwinnett, but the felony willful obstruction and the battery family violence is out of DeKalb. So it may be probational.
Well, the state can decide whether they want this matter transferred or not, but presently on the reckless conduct, the bond is 3,500, and that's a surety bond. On the marijuana, it's going to be 100. Total bond is 3,600 surety bond. No weapons, no firearms, and no illegal drugs. Unfortunately, Ms. Nutting, you still have 2 active probation cases, at least that I know of. And even though it's on first offender status, this particular arrest can result in your case being transferred to the Superior Court on charges of possession of a firearm by a first offender probationer or as a convicted felon. We need to unmute courtroom 2. And please remember, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of the case, your statements can and will be used against you.
My question is just that, when I was sent to RSAT on both of those cases, and when I came home, the Gwinnett case, I was put on an ankle monitor for 4 months. So I was under the impression that that case was closed and I'm no longer on probation in Gwinnett County. Since I completed my house arrest.
If that's the case, you might want to reach out to whoever represented you in the Gwinnett County case and find that out, because I just have information that there are 2 open probation matters.
Yes,
Thank you. Next case, please. No stay away.
Next, we have position number 9, Kendrick.
This is State versus Stephen Kendick, case number 23 CR 8421E. Mr. Kendick is accused of battery family violence from December 27, 2023. Mr. Kendick, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and presently your defense counsel is going to be Ms. Kim. Any priors, Mr. Howard?
Second arrest last was 1998 for DUI.
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on December 27, 2023, the officer responded to the incident location, that being 1790 Forest Pond Lane in Roswell, Georgia, 30075 in Fulton County, Georgia, in response to a domestic call. The officer met with the victim in this case, who is Kathleen McDaniel, traditional spelling Kathleen, who stated that her and her boyfriend, the defendant, who had been living together for 3 years, were drinking with some friends together. The defendant had taken the victim's purse and hid it from her. They got into an argument over it, which turned physical, which ended with him holding her down on the floor by her chest and neck. The victim, at the time that the officer arrived, the victim had visible marks on her chest and neck, consistent with someone who had been forcibly grabbed by her neck and in a choking manner. Your Honor, the recommendation given the nature of the case, the recommendation from the state is a $3,000 surety bond, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, no contact with the victim, stay away from that incident location, and the completion of a family violence intervention program. Our office, unfortunately, has not been able to get in contact with Ms. McDaniels. And so if we could sound for her at the call, that'd be greatly appreciated, Your Honor.
All right, well, she's on Zoom. Ms. McDaniel, my name is Judge Law, and if you want to contribute to the proceedings, I would need to place you under oath. If you'd like to unmute? Yes, no?
Yes.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So this incident occurred a few days ago, and you've just heard the prosecutor, Mr. Pierre Thomas, allocute the alleged events that took place. Would you agree with those alleged events?
Yes.
All right. And do you have any concerns about Mr. Kendick, excuse me, being in close proximity or living with you?
No, ma'am, I do not. I would like the no contact to be released. I don't feel fear by him. I'm not scared of him. I think the incident is Stephen has a serious drinking problem and anger issues. And I think that some form of treatment for him would be very beneficial because, alcohol causes a lot of anger and he tends to have very bad anger issues, but I do not feel fear and I'm not scared of him.
Who lives at this particular location presently?
We just live alone together, but we do have children that mine is 19 in college. So she kind of comes and goes. She's in college. And then he has 2 children that he has visitation rights to every other week and 1 visitation right during the week.
And how do you know that there is an alcohol-related problem?
He'd probably be willing to tell you that himself.
Nope, he has a right to remain silent, and I definitely don't want him to tell me that.
Because Stephen starts drinking at 10:30 in the morning, and it's very consistent every day. And if we've ever had any form of argument, not physical, any kind of argument, it's because alcohol was involved. He drinks every single day, and it's anger.
Yes, yes, Ms. Kim.
That is not related to this alleged case that
I asked the question because I want to know whether she needs to have contact with him. Thank you. I'm sorry, Ms. McDaniel, you were saying?
So the alcohol plays a very big role in a daily basis, but the no contact I don't feel is necessary. I would like, I don't know the terminology of if something was to ever break out again, that he would go to jail. I don't know what you call it, the legal terms. I don't have anywhere to go.
You got it. You've used the right terms. If he
Okay.
ever violates the law again, he goes back to jail and he will lose the bond, whatever bond he may receive.
Right.
The state is asking me to issue a surety bond, which means that he would have to pay for his bond and then he would have to comply with certain conditions.
Okay.
That's what they're asking.
Okay. I thought you were asking me if I wanted no content. I'm sorry. I mean, no
I
contact.
want to know, why do you think about this alcohol problem? Because I'm a little perplexed by why you would want to have contact with someone who apparently manifests these problems in your household.
Because he needs help and he has a disease.
And
And
who's
I
going to
love him.
provide that help?
And I love him and I'm there for him to support him to become sober.
That's good to know. Thank you. Ms. Kim? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Kendick is 45 years old, and Your Honor, he is working for Vision Services Plan as an executive. He's been working there for about 2 years, and he has been here in Georgia ever since 1996, more than 27 years. He has his house there. It is actually his house. So if Your Honor orders him to stay away from the house, he has to file for dispossessory action to remove Miss Kathleen McDaniel. So we would like to request for no further violent contact. And my client has a master's degree, and this is his first violence offense. I mean, the last one was so remote, 1998. So we would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial service. Thank you.
Thank you. On the battery family violence, the bonds can be set at 3,500. It's a signature bond through pretrial services. No further contact with Kathleen McDaniel, and to stay away from 1790 Foreign Pond Lane in Roswell, Georgia. No illegal drugs, no alcohol, and no firearms. Mr. Kendick, you will report to pretrial once a month. You will attend and complete an alcohol and drug evaluation and submit yourself to any treatment by the healthcare provider. That evaluation must take place within 30 days of being released on your signature bond through pretrial. If you wish to regain possession of 1790 Forest Pond Lane, Roswell, Georgia, is exactly what your defense attorney indicated. You would need to file a dispossessory action against Ms. McDaniel, or she can voluntarily vacate the premises. Once she voluntarily vacates the premises, then you may return to that property. But presently, you and Ms. McDaniel have to stay apart. You have to stay 200 yards away from her. You cannot communicate with her in any way, form, or manner. And that includes in-person, phone, computer, as well as social media. Of course, if Ms. McDaniel voluntarily vacates the premises, as I said, you can return to the location. But until that happens, you would need to find new lodging, and you need to update the court with your new address within 30 days of being released. You will be subject to random screens for illegal drugs and alcohol by pretrial services. And while you are released on this signature bond, you will also enroll in a domestic violence intervention program within 60 days of being released. So by your second or third visit with pretrial, you must show proof that you have enrolled. I think it's your third visit. By your third visit with pretrial, you must show proof that you have enrolled in a qualified domestic violence program. Thank you.
Can he have a one-time law enforcement officer escorted visit to retrieve his personal belongings?
Yes, he may have a one-time visit to the Forest Pond home with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings. If you and the officer verify that Ms. McDaniel has vacated the premises, then you may return to live there. Otherwise, You can only return once you've got an eviction order or Ms. McDaniel vacates the premises voluntarily. Thank you.
Is this a level one?
Level 1. Next case, Deputy Francois.
Next we have, position number 8.
Dontavius Kelly is charged with battery, family violence, and cruelty in the 3rd degree from December 2027 of this year. The accusation is now 23 CR 8423B. Mr. Kelly, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors?
16 total. Last arrest was 2016, fade to appear. 2013 burglary, 2012 fade to appear. Level 2.
All right. Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Your Honor. On December 27th, the Fairburn Police Department responded to the location 131 Shadow Creek Court in Fairburn, Georgia, in reference to a physical dispute between a man and a woman. The caller, who did not wish to meet, stated that the male subject was pushing the female. Upon arrival at the location, the officer was flagged down. He spoke with the accused first. The accused told the officer that the mother of his children, Miss Shayna Starks, Starks, excuse me, had come over to pick up the children, including the 15-year-old witness, that he spoke with her earlier in the day and told her he would be bringing the children over to her later that day. The officer observed fresh scratch marks on the left side of his face and also a small cut on his right eye. The accused responded that they were probably old and not to worry about them. The officer then spoke with Ms. Starks, who stated that Mr. Kelly was supposed to bring the children home the day before and did not. He also told her he would bring them early in the morning, the 27th. She also told the officer that she was expecting the children home because they were moving and she needed their help, that there's no formal visitation order in effect, and that Mr. Kelly became irate over the phone when she called him earlier that day. So then Ms. Starks went to the residence herself to pick up the children. Upon arriving, Mr. Kelly pushed her at the door. At that point, the 15-year-old child tried to get in between them, and that's when Mr. Kelly hit her in the mouth. The officer did observe fresh blood on her mouth and informed her that Mr. Kelly will be charged with battery and cruelty to children. The officer then went to speak with Mr. Kelly, advised him he was being placed under arrest. After a brief tussle, he was able to handcuff him, secure him in the vehicle. The officer further reported that while being transported, Mr. Kelly spontaneously said that Ms. Starks attacked him. Our office was in touch with Ms. Starks. She will not be appearing on Zoom. She stated that she and the defendant were together for 5 years. They have not been together in approximately 10 years. They share 2 children. They do not reside together, and they do have a history of domestic violence. The victim confirmed the events in the warrant. She stated she wants no contact for her and her children and a stay away order from her residence, which is 3214 Diamond Bluff, Union City. The state is recommending $1,500 surety bond, $1,500 surety bond on each count. No contact with Ms. Starks, the children, a stay away order from 3214 Diamond Bluff, Union City. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
Ms. Kim? Oh, I'm so sorry. Is it Shayna Starks? Is that who you wanted me to sound out for?
She indicated she will not be on Zoom today.
All right. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Kelly is 35 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. All his family members are in Georgia. He's not a flight risk, and we have no objection to stay away and no further contact with Shayna Starks. My client denies the allegation. He says that he was the one who called the police because she came to his place without his approval. So he wants to clarify that he was not the first aggressor in this incident. Your Honor, he is gainfully employed as a union worker. He's been working there for 16 plus years, and he completed his GED. We would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 2. Thank you.
On the battery family violence, it's going to be 2,000. On the cruelty, it's going to be 500. Total bond is 2,500. It is a surety bond. Next court date is, Ms. Bridgewater?
It's January 11th.
January 11th, 2024. No contact with Shaina, Shaina Starks. No contact with ZK and the other minor child that he shares with Ms. Starks, unless he files a legitimation action and gets a court order for visitation and custody. No illegal drugs, alcohol, and no firearms. Thank you. Next case, please.
Position number 10.
Mr. Mario Lewis.
Yes, sir.
Mario Lewis is charged with theft by shoplifting and willful obstruction of an officer. The accusation is 23 CR 8422E, and the incident's from December 27, 2023. Mr. Lewis, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Kim. Any priors, please?
32. Open case from June of this year, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. Possession of a controlled substance with intent. Possession of a firearm by convicted felon, selling marijuana. Possession of drug-related objects, obstruction. 23 CP 219-100. On probation for burglary. It says ordered to continue supervision until 2030. What else? 2022 theft by taking, obstruction. 2021 theft by receiving, probation violation. 2017 shoplifting conviction. That's
good. Thank you. Mr. Pierre Thomas?
Your Honor, brief facts of the case is that on December 27, 2023, the officer observed the defendant grab a Vicks Dayquil off the shelf and conceal it into a black plastic bag that he was carrying. The officer then stopped the defendant and requested his information. While the officer was running said information, the defendant fled and ran from the officer before communications could be provided for the necessary information. The officer then ran after the defendant and told him numerous times to stop, to which he did not follow the instructions for. Your Honor, given the extensive history as it relates to theft-related crimes, we believe that the bond is currently set, which is $600 on each charge, is reasonable. And so that is what the request is from the state. In addition to that, we will be requesting no alcohol, drugs, or weapons and to stay away from that incident location. That incident location being Walgreens, located at 25 Peachtree Street in Atlanta, Georgia, in Fulton County. Nothing further from the state, Your Honor.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lewis is 43 years old. He was born and raised here in Georgia. He's married. His wife is here. His mother's here in Georgia. And even though he's working part-time at KS Distribution as a labor worker, he's still not making enough money. He's qualified to be represented by public defender services. And he completed GED. Your Honor, we would like to request for signature on bond. And if Your Honor is not inclined to give him a signature on bond, I guess $600 each for 2 charges have to remain set. Thank you.
Bond is 500 on each count, and that's going to be $1,000 surety bond. Next court date is January 11th. I think if I reduce it any further, he won't be able to bond out through a bonding company. Thank you. Oh, and stay away from all, was it a Walgreens?
Walgreens.
Stay away from all Walgreens store, not just the one in question. Thank you.
And next, Your Honor, we have we decided what we're going to do with Sandra Jones. I don't know if she's on the calendar.
Give me, just
bond order?
literally give me 1 minute, 60 seconds, countdown now.
Okay.
Thank you. I haven't received any proposed bond order for Sandra Jones. Has the state forwarded anything to anyone? Oh, hang
That is
on,
the
Sandra Telly
lady.
Jones. Okay, here it is. So the bond order for Miss Sandra Jones by consent is going to be a UJR. I'm going to change that to a $500 signature bond through the jail. And she will stay away from 1660 Jonesboro Road in Southeast Atlanta, Georgia. Ms. Atay, any objection to that?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. So that's the decision on Sandra Jones, $500 signature bond through the jail and to stay away from the incident location. All right. Any other cases, Deputy Francois?
Did we do number 3?
I was just about to say, we handled George today.
I also going to find out what's going on. I have George Fields, position number 3.
So number
5.
the bond has been paid for number 3.
Okay, so that is further notice released.
And also for number 5, bond has been paid.
Okay, further notice released. And then that's it then.
Yep, we're completed, Judge.
Okay, thank you. All right, Dr. Francois, I'll see you tomorrow, most likely, perhaps.
Okay, yes, I'll be here tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, see you then. Thank you. With the attorneys, the calendar on position 1 is a $2,000 signature bond through the jail, released through the hold. Position number 2 is a 2,500 signature bond through pretrial, further notice. Position 3 is released and further notice. Position 4, Hislop, is a signature bond through pretrial, in which she must report to after of holds in Forsyth and Hall County. Position 5, Johnson, is released for the notice. 6, Taji Jones and 7, Tara Jones are 2,500 each signature bond through pretrial for the notice. Position 8, Kelly, is a 2,500 surety, reset date January 11th. 9, Kendick, is a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. 10, Lewis is a $1,000 surety bond, reset date January 11th. And 11, McGraw is a 3,000 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. 12, Nothing is a 3,500 surety bond, $3,600 surety bond, reset date January 11th. And position 13 is a 2,000 signature bond through pretrial for the notice. We good? All right, everyone. You all have a great Thursday.
Thank you, Judge.
Lucky
Bye.
ones get to be with me tomorrow. So take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Judge. Okay.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Ms. Kim.